Today we've got a great episode on the Law of Relevancy podcast. We're joined by Simon Severino, who is the founder and CEO of Strategy Sprints, which is a program and a thought leadership platform built all around B2B sales and the way that we're doing business today. Simon, thank you for joining us.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Well, I'm really excited to have you on the show. You're a graduate of MIT. You have you've spoken on amazing stages, and you've got a new book out called Strategy Sprints, where you talk more in depth about your program. Would you mind sharing us a little bit about what your philosophy is and how we implement it as companies that need to understand B2B marketing and sales?
Absolutely. And MIT was just a summer course. I'm not a graduate. I did a course
I saw it on your LinkedIn account.
On innovation, on product and service innovation. And it looks big on LinkedIn, but it was just a summer course. So what I do is I help people solve their sales problem. And that starts with, right now, Simon, it takes me many more calls to close a deal. Simon, my pipeline is drying up. Simon, I hate marketing actually, but I have to do something because I was relying completely on referrals. But now referrals are not scalable for my agency. So those are the questions that I get since 22 years. And I've fallen in love with answering those questions. And so we get these questions and we love just, going deep into solving them. And this became then a team, the Strategy Sprints team. And now we're doing this in many regions using a specific process that is helpful. This is what we do.
You touched on one of the things that is near and dear to some situations that I've been involved in, and that's when referrals sometimes dry up. Or they either dry up or you're just not getting enough to actually grow the business like you need to. One of the things I saw about you that I was really impressed with is that in your bio, you talk about how you've added over $2 billion of sales, additional sales to clients that already exist. In my experience, when you're doing a great job and the quality is high, referrals keep coming in. But if you're in sales and marketing, it can really hurt your confidence to have situations where there might be turmoil or maybe even your industry is changing from some outside force. But how do you put yourself out there in a way to attract those referrals and attract that new business even when the sun's not shining, so to speak?
That's the biggest question right now for most agency owners, small businesses. They think about, how do I create an active, repeatable way of people finding me? And it's a paradox, right? I have to do something so that people find me. The hope was they find me. But now it turns out they don't find me. I need to stand out. I need something to gain awareness, to turn that awareness into interest, that interest into engagement, that engagement into 80% ready to buy, and then get them to buy. So it's 5 problems actually. And where do we learn that? You don't learn that in most universities. You don't learn that. So many business owners right now, they have these 5 questions and they're looking for answers. And so when they find us, then we group them together either in group coaching or one-on-one coaching and consulting and go deep into these things. We can double click into one of them if it's interesting for your audience.
Well, let's talk about the importance of community. I mean, one of the things that really annoys me is every day when I'm looking at my email, I am just bombarded with, and we all see it nowadays, but these spam emails that are very well written. Sometimes they try to be funny. Sometimes they try to seem very humanistic, but you can tell they're generated by AI. Somebody's reaching out to you that you've never met before in your whole life, and they're acting like you might be friends or whatnot. And it's just the insincerity of it all is very off-putting to me, and in my opinion is not the right way to scale B2B sales. I know some people are quote unquote making it work. In my opinion, it's probably mostly a short-term making it work. But community, the connection to a community, being part of a tribe, having people that want you to win and are looking out for you and referring business also, I think is incredibly powerful. How are you using communities to really help people grow their B2B sales?
We're both using community, and we are also helping our clients build communities. So think of an agency that helps people with their newsletter, right? Now, sometimes we ask them, what if you just think of your current clients? Would they benefit from meeting the other clients and talking about stuff? They are all business owners. Do they have similar questions? Yes, very similar questions. Would they benefit from talking to each other? Yes, a lot. Could you ask them what they be willing to pay for it? They go out there, they ask them, they come back. They would say, well, I would pay $10,000 a year for that. Boom, you have now the opportunity for a mastermind. You can offer small masterminds into your world to existing clients where they get to meet the other similar people with similar questions on a similar journey. So this is one aspect, how community, in terms of a paid community, can be an expansion cell. It can be an addition to your services or products. From there, because it's such a, let's say, a low-hanging fruit to add lifetime value to your customer, from there, we've started implementing this with our clients. Now, those communities have grown. And now the second effect of this community happened. Let's say you're looking for a CRM software. You find two that are interesting. You Google reviews about them. Like one thing is looking at reviews. And then while you Google, you see that there are YouTube videos about one of those softwares and zero about the other. Which CRM software do you feel more attracted to?
I would 100% feel more attracted to the one that had more information about it. I love video because you can see the person that's talking to you about the software. You can tell whether or not they're telling the truth or if they really actually like it or not. I'm a huge fan of video for that reason, because you can scale trust.
Exactly. And it's more trustworthy. It's less risky for you. Buying carries always risk. This is the core of my work. The buyer is always in a risky position. They can take the wrong decision. They can waste money. They can waste time. They can waste reputation if they buy the wrong thing. So my whole work is around that buyer psychology and how can we create a situation where the buyer is safe and it's easy for the buyer to take decisions and buy. So you compare the softwares, you see that the one has videos, immediately you reacted with, yeah, the one with videos, because it's de-risked. There are multiple layers. If we unpack that, there are multiple layers of de-risking for you that you resonate with. One is, well, if they have other people making videos about them, they might be around longer. Because one risk is always, I go with this software, but what if in 2 years they implode? Software doesn't live forever. I mean, there is a few software that gets 40 years old, right? So one risk is, what if they implode? And if there is a community around it, well, they will be around longer because somebody needs them. Somebody's using them. So they will keep them alive. Like Lego was kept alive by the users when it was insolvent. Because there is an actual community that needs you. Think of Figma versus Adobe. Figma has a huge community that's driving it, right? And this is why Adobe would love to buy Figma. Think of Notion or Miro, which have these users that create templates. They share them voluntarily with others. The others build on top of that. That's a community. And it's easier for a buyer to buy something that has a community because first, it's de-risked if they're legit. Yeah, they are. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a buzz here, right? If it's de-risked if they will be around longer, probably yes. The probability is higher. It's de-risked if it works, because if it wouldn't work, why would they hang out there? They would just go away to the next thing. So you see, a community creates trust at scale, de-risks the situation for the buyer, and this is what it's all about. We are in the age of AI, where everything will be more and more and more. The question will be, who's real?
Yeah, who's
And
real?
who can we trust?
Yeah, 1,000%, 1,000%. I mean, that is such a big, it's a big question because there's so much fake content that is starting to come out, and it's only going to get more and more and more. Yeah. So one of the things you were talking about community that I was drawn to just now is you spoke about building a community. Obviously, you have a service where you can plug people into communities. What kind of alignments are you looking for? So like if I were to go out, let's just say I'm not ready to buy into a community, but I want to try to build a community on my own, right? What are the best alignments for other businesses that I'd want to make a part of a community that I want to be in? Are we looking at like similar types of, like, maybe I want to be in a group with other professional services, or maybe it's so the types of things that we do, or is it, you know, who we sell to? What are some great alignment factors?
Important question. So when we help build communities, the first thing is to have a community manifesto. So who are we for? What are we for? What's the journey here? For example, a great community that I've seen once was a community for women traveling solo. It's a great manifesto. We are here for women traveling solo, for them to be safe and have fun. It's perfect because it's a very clear who is it for, what is it for, and why it's needed, right? You can exchange trips and say, hey, be careful there, but you can expand more there. It's a very good community. Another example is an app that actually helps you identify mountains. So it's for people who do mountain biking, and then their kids ask them, hey, which mountain is this? And the app quickly tells it. But then during the week, the app sends an email and says, hey, by the way, here are 3 ideas. I know that you like these 2 areas. Here are 3 ideas what you can do next weekend with your kids. And so by doing that, they create a community of parents and a community of ideas for weekends, which is genius. Another example are masterminds, where you bring together people who have the same client, but complementary offers. So for example, I run a community called the 200K Club. It adds 200K to the life of entrepreneurs who have the same customer that's as business owner of a high ticket professional service, but they have complementary offers. So one of them optimizes YouTube, the other one does mindset coaching, the other one does bookkeeping, the other one does franchise consulting. So different offers, but for the same group. This way, you can collaborate, you can cross promote, you can say, let's do a workshop together. You can say, come onto my podcast. You can say, write a foreword to my book. You can say, can I refer you people? Can we create value together? Can I create 2 emails to my list about your offers and you do it the other way around? So this creates collaboration opportunities.
It seems to me that when you're talking about some of the iconic and successful communities out there, like Figma versus Adobe, this travel club that you're talking about, that there's this core idea at the center of these really successful communities. And when it sounds like you can measure the success of a community around the passion that people have for it. And it seems like the common thread might be, and tell me if I'm wrong, that the community or the product really tries to zero in on solving a problem. And
yes, it's all about the journey from A to B. And people who are on this journey, they gel together. That makes a great community.
How can we take that concept and then apply it to our clients' journeys and what our clients are trying to accomplish?
Yeah. So, for example, you are a financial advisor. Right? If you're a financial advisor, you start a Discord group and say, everyone who is on this journey to financial freedom, you can join my Discord group. This is what I see happening all the time. Those communities are pretty powerful because they're all on the same journey. So they want to achieve financial freedom. And then they will differentiate from each other. One of them is around having passive income. They will be the dividends tribe. Another one is about finding high quality companies for cheap. They will be the value investor tribe. Then the other one will be finding disruptive technology. They will be the AI/crypto/data tribe. So they will differentiate in communities. And the powerful thing is everybody who is on that journey, they gel together. We are looking for the people that are like us. We're looking for our tribe.
Yeah.
And this is the power of a community.
Let's pivot to something I heard you talk about on a TED Talk that I watched that you did. In that TED Talk, you spoke about basically having the fear of success. And when we're talking about putting yourself out there, being a part of a community, taking that first step, all of those sorts of things, there's this core thing that people have to get comfortable with about, like you said in your podcast. I mean, tell us for this audience the story of what you were talking about scoring goals when you were a kid.
Yeah. So we are afraid of our power. And we don't even know it. So we self-sabotage. Basically, everyone listening has no limits, but we self-impose limits. The power of a community is it will call you out. For example, every Monday I meet the 200K Club. We talk about dreams, we talk about wins, we talk about failures where we need help. Both these two things, sharing where you need help, that helps you go deeper into your current, being miserable and being stuck. So you go deeper into what doesn't work. At the same time, people call you out because when you share about the goals for the next 90 days, they will say, what, that's your goal? Come on, Simon, you should write a second book that goes directly into Chinese. You shouldn't do a podcast as your big goal, right? You are thinking too small. So in a community, people call us out if we are vulnerable enough. So if we don't go enough into our weaknesses and if we don't go enough into our power. And this is what the TED Talk was about, that we are actually afraid of our power. And that's why we shrink, we hide where we need help, and we hide our splendor and our incredible power. Community is good at calling us out and pulling out of us both the vulnerability, but also the incredible power that we have.
I agree with you 100%. I was in a roundtable earlier this week, and there was a gentleman in the roundtable who was getting challenged at work with a colleague trying to supplant him. And I remember in that meeting, everybody that was there was helping this person see the power and the impact that they have in their business when the guy couldn't see it for himself. And I was just thinking in that moment, like, what is that thing about us as humans that made all of us care enough about him to want to motivate him to stand up for himself?
That's the power of community. We're all on the same journey. So there is no difference between you and me. I help you, I'm helping me. There is no separation anymore. There is one journey, and many people on that journey. So what's the difference? There is no difference. Like, I help you, you help me. And by helping you, I'm also helping a part of myself doing that part of the journey. Because who of us is not confronted with being attacked by others? We all are.
Right. One of the things that helps me in my business development life is simply that word help. When I think about the help that I'm giving someone when I sell them my product or my service, I can get very assertive with it because I can see very clearly how what I might be able to offer to them can improve their situation. And so when I think about it through the lens of helping others, it's like I don't feel like I'm nagging them. I don't feel like I'm being pushy when I'm reminding them, like, hey, I know you haven't forgotten about this. You still need this thing. I'm here for you, those kinds of things. And it really helps me get past that barrier that may be what I need in order to be successful or to engage with them, to help them solve their problems. And it's very powerful for me. What is the difference between scoring a goal as an 8-year-old and closing the deal as a 40-year-old?
Yeah. It's the eternal question, right? Do I dare to reach out? Do I dare to try? Do I dare to make friends? To ask for something? Do I dare to ask? I might be rejected. And so when you're playing soccer, do I dare to make that move that's in my head right now? It might score. It might also embarrass me. And this feeling is with all of us. We know we should do some sales. So we know we should call some people from our pipeline. Everybody knows what sales is. It is check your calendar from 3 months ago. Who should you call and ask, how are you? How is it going? What else do you need? Who else needs this? You do this every day, your pipeline is full.
That's right.
But what's the complication? Why is it hard? Because there is this feeling, if I call them and they say, no, I don't have the time, I don't want to talk, I don't want to recommend you, I don't want to make an introduction, the fear is I get personally rejected. And we don't like that. So it becomes personal. But here's the trick if you want to get better at sales. It's completely impersonal. It's not about you. It's not about them. It's really just about bringing together a need and a solution. So some of my clients, they help themselves with this metaphor of a desert. It's a desert. People are thirsty. I have water. What do? Do I keep the water for myself? Or do I say, hey guys, here is water. Who needs this?
I love that example.
It's impersonal, right? It's not about us. And so that can help you reset or neutralize. And another image that helps me still do the call is they pick up, they decide what they do with the information. I don't decide. It's not in my control what they do with it. The only thing that's in my control is giving other people a chance to buy. That's my duty. Everything else is in their control. If they read the email or not is in their control. My only influence is if I send it or not. Thus, I will send it.
No, that's really motivating. And it really helps clear out some of those barriers of trepidation and fear that somebody might have, and in doing that call, right? I think one of the things that I saw a quote from you is selling hot, not selling cold.
Mm-hmm.
And how does that relate to what you were just talking about?
Yeah, many people think they have to create lead gen systems and talk to strangers all the time. You probably don't have to. If we go through your, cold relationship, warm relationships, and hot relationships, we probably find enough warm and hot relationships that we don't even need to go to strangers and do the so-called prospecting. I mean, I like prospecting, but with most clients that are a little bit more on the cautious side of things, we just start with hot and warm. So warm people are people that you talked to a year ago, 2 years ago, past clients, friends of clients. Those are all warm people. So there is already some relationship, some trust there. What about just calling them? Hey, how are you doing? That's warm people, right? Also warm people who subscribed to your email list this week, people who downloaded something from your website this week, people who registered for one of your webinars 2 months ago. That's warm people. And then there are the hot people, current clients that you can ask, who else needs this? Current clients that you can ask, what else do you need help with? Current strategic partners, like we talked about the 200K Club, where people become strategic partners to each other. Like, I'm an accountant to a business owner. I see that they need also sales help. Do I know a sales coach that I can make an introduction to?
Right.
That's hot, because it's from a current hot relationship that you make a referral, and referral is always full of trust because you borrow the trust initially. So those are hot relationships. And probably if we start doing the list, if we take an hour and start doing the list, this is the Strategy Sprints coaching, we find so many people that you can probably call 60 people. And so for the next 2 weeks, you have enough to do just with the hot relationships. We don't even have to go to the warm and to the cold ones. This is how I would start. I would always start with hot, then go to warm. And if you run out of warm people in your pipeline, well, then we have to think about strangers and how to approach strangers on LinkedIn, on X, on YouTube. By the way, I love it. I'm talking right now to strangers. I don't know who's listening. I love this. And some of them, they might resonate and we might talk after this episode.
No, I love that. I've got two more questions related to what you were just talking about. One is, if I'm selling a product or service, let's say it's a SaaS software, I can sell that all day because there's really no bottleneck. There's nothing that really chokes that off. We can grow as fast as we want to. There's no real limiting factor. If I'm selling consulting services that's driven by people, and if I'm already like redlining my people in terms of like their tachometer is already as hard as they can go, I'm going to be really nervous about selling more because I care so much about quality. How do you help people figure out how to get through that barrier?
This happens a lot. I have like marketing agencies or consultancies or IT agencies, design agencies. They say, no, Simon, I have already 15 clients. I cannot take on 2 more. And so it's interesting. I was there 6-7 years ago with my consultancy. I was exactly there. And then I remember exactly walking through Vienna with this question in mind. How can I solve for this? Because we start a business in order to take on work, and then taking on work becomes a resistance. It doesn't make sense. So there must be something that I built wrong in the business model. And so I was walking through Vienna, thinking about the business model, how to change my consulting business model so that it's not, throwing bodies at people and the bodies become the bottleneck, because they don't come for bodies, they come for solving a problem. So I walk, no idea, no idea. And then I see a restaurant with a yellow M, and it hits me. Why do people become franchisees of McDonald's? Why do you pay to open a McDonald's restaurant in your area? You pay for brand and processes, right?
That's right.
It hit me so hard and said, what's keeping my industry consulting from scaling like that? Nothing is keeping me. So I go back to my desk and say, okay, I have to improve brand and processes. That's what I did. The next 6 months, I just improved brand and process, brand and process, brand and process. And when that was ready, I started teaching others. I wrote the book about the process with the name of the brand.
Yeah.
It's the Strategy Sprints book about the Strategy Sprints company. And it became a certification model, like a franchise, right? And so people are paying to be certified. They become certified. They achieve enough quality and a high enough NPS. They go out there. We add countries. We add time zones. We don't have no limits anymore. Whenever I have too many clients, I add more coaches. And there is no limit because I don't have to, I don't have this enormous risk of hiring a coach. And what happens if in 8 months, I don't have enough clients, right? So that problem is gone. And now it's scalable. So that's one way, certification. Another one is IP lending. Another one is franchising. There are so many ways. And so when I now talk to professional services and they think that there is this bottleneck, I say, okay, let's take 90 minutes and strategize, because probably we can solve for that.
That's really interesting. You know, as you're telling that story about walking through Vienna, I was, again, I don't know why the young, I mean, I played a lot of soccer growing up myself, but it seems like that little boy who was nervous about making that move, that he might have tripped over the ball or embarrassed himself or maybe not scored or kicked it as, out of bounds or whatever. It seems like that fear is gone. So what happened in you? Because it seems like you're way past that now. You have no fear as it relates to it. It doesn't seem that way. When did that change occur where you got past that?
I have more fear than ever, or I am more aware of my fear more than ever. Fear has not become less. That boy is still absolutely afraid before any move. The only difference is I don't let it touch me in my core. Fear is just a feeling. Feelings are sensations.
Right.
I go to Pilates class once a week. I feel sensations with the weights. And so at some point I think, oh, that's too much for my body. And it's just half the class. I know, no. There will be another 50% of this. And I will endure. In every middle of the class, I think I'm done. This is too much for my muscles. And it's not true.
Right.
It's just a sensation. There is a burn in your triceps. Okay, it's burning. It's a sensation. The triceps is not being destroyed.
It seems like you've separated it. It seems like you've recognized, hey, this is just a feeling and I'm going to just push through this. And what's the worst that can happen? Somebody's got to do it.
Yes. And it's part of it. Emotions come and go, like the weather come and goes. I don't care about the weather anymore. I go running every day. Sometimes I run in the snow. Sometimes I run in the sun. Sometimes I run in the rain. I have even come to like that. If you have probably friends that don't have any different seasons. They miss it. It's great to have different seasons, to feel cold, to feel hot, to move from one to the other. It's actually pretty cool. So I like being afraid, being anxious, being proud, all these feelings. Why not? They come, they go. They're not so important. That's the point. What is really important as an entrepreneur is showing up every day for the people that you are here to serve. So even if I'm tired, I go onto a podcast because I'm here to serve. Somebody needs to hear this. So I will show up, I will tell.
Simon, I really appreciate it. I love that last soundbite, and I'm over here giving my producer signals that we're going to chop that one out. That one's going on our social media. That was excellent. And I'm just excited about learning more about your book and strategy sprints and your program. And where can people find more information about you and the service that you provide?
So we are at strategysprints.com. You find there a ton of tools. Many of the tools that I've mentioned, you can use. They're open source. You can use them for free. It's at strategysprints.com. I wrote a book with much love about how to run a company in the digital age, how to do marketing, how to do sales, how to hire, how to fire. The book is called Strategy Sprints. It's available on Amazon. And I'm on all social medias. So either it's X, Simon Severino, or YouTube, Simon Severino. You find me everywhere, but our home is strategysprints.com.
Well, Simon, we'll definitely take the time to find you there, and you can find us anywhere where podcasts are found, on the lawofrelevancy.com and across the Bake More Pies social media feeds. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you next time.